Hello, everybody. My name is Josh Tyler, and welcome to another edition of Cap Chat. My role here is the National College Advisory Program Director for Rush Soccer. And today we are going to be joined by Joe Lawrence and Tyler Tomlinson, real good friends of Rush Soccer. And we're going to talk about the parent role in recruitment, and then we end on some stir in the pot. So welcome to Cap Chat, everyone. We are going to dive right in. Today's topic is parent roles in recruitment, and there's comical ways to talk about it, and there's some serious ways. And
so let's not have a repeat of August 4th, 2010, late ace. The team has a really good girl in midfield. Shelby Johnson, 5'10", already had a verbal agreement to UConn. Really good at position. Oh, dang it! Girls, I can see your ranking dropping that top drawer in God Soccer right now.
And so the parent plays such a vital role in the recruitment process, more from a behind the scenes. So we have parents that are one extreme to the other. And so what we're going to talk about is how do parents find that middle ground? How do parents still be that incredibly important voice in their lives to get our kids and the players ready to play in college, and also have that balance of them not overstepping their bounds and letting the player speak for themselves. And this really goes for all ages as well. But seeing kids being able to talk for themselves is fantastic. So we're going to be joined by Tyler Tomlinson from Culver-Stockton College, the head women's soccer coach, and Joe Sagar from Lawrence University, the head women's soccer coach there, Division III with Lawrence, and NAIA with Tyler at Culver. Tyler and Joe, thanks for joining us today as we talk about the parent role in recruitment. How you guys doing?
Hey Josh, good to hear from you. It's always a pleasure to be on, and hopefully we can help answer some questions today. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. We appreciate this opportunity and look forward to it.
Yeah, so the topic we've been talking about is the parent role in recruitment, and so we're going to more. This is more of a discussion. So we kind of want to talk about the parent role in recruitment and how advantageous the parent can be, and also how disadvantageous a parent can be to the recruitment process. So I want to start and kind of just open it up and let's start chatting about. I'm going to tell you a quick story of why this kind of came up. For tryouts at club, we were sitting at a table, and the greatest thing about COVID has been that parents aren't allowed in the park, which has been brilliant. It's been good. So we had a 2010 girls team that was on the opposite end of field one, so as far away from parents as possible. And some parents mosey the way like zombies to the backside of the fence. They find their way through the mud, but there's this dad yelling at his daughter, and I can't remember the daughter's name, so I'm just going to say Lily, and hope it's not actually Lily, but they go, and you hear this dad yelling across the field. This girl's a 2010, so she's 10 years old, and you hear, Lily, put your gloves back on, and the daughter is, you can see, mortified. She's just like, 10-year-old, and he's yelling, Lily, put your gloves back on, and she finally says, the coach told me not to. And I asked the coach afterwards, Louis, and he said that the girl, there's 3 keepers, and she was just standing because she's waiting to go in. He said, hey, take your gloves off and come and play. And so instead of stand, makes perfect sense. The dad is screaming. And we all know the stories, but I was like, is that moment, if I'm a college coach and that was happening, like, you walk away from that kid, right?
I would say this, Josh. I'm not a parent, so I always try to put myself in their shoes. And I know parents are told throughout, before they have a child, they're told, you must be involved in everything. You've got to pick them up, and you've got to pack their lunch, and you've got to, if you're not, you're a bad parent. And then suddenly they get told, whoa, don't be involved anymore. So I think there's a learning curve, and I think we do a disservice to some parents, and all parents, where we don't help them know when to be involved and when to have their arm around and protect their child, and when to just shut up and trust professionals. And you're right. The parent screaming at a 10-year-old from a distance who doesn't know what they've been told, that's not a good look. And it happens. And I've been at showcases. You guys have been at showcases where you're like, what is that racket? Like, where is that coming from? And it's Sally yelling at Susie Snowflake, her daughter, and you're like, Sally, we don't want you around. Like that's, so I'm always like, I think parents need to be told when is appropriate and how they can help build their daughters and sons' love for the game. But there's too many that I think impose their successes on their child, and that's not what we want.
So when is a good time that a parent to get involved? I mean, what does it look like from a parent perspective? What should a parent be doing for recruitment? I mean, what's too much? I mean, when do you land the helicopter?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think first and foremost, you as a parent have to realize that this is your child's experience. This is your child's life. So even, with the 10 to 12-year-old kid, they're going to have to listen to their coach and want to learn you're learning how to apply things at that age, right? So you want to apply things to the way that the coaching method is going, not to the way the parenting method is going. When they get home, you want to teach your kid, what to do at the dinner table. That they need to learn how to apply that. They don't have someone else outside your window going, "That's the wrong fork."
Yeah, the coach is now knocking on the window. Substitute the fork for the knife, Sally. Come on.
So we have to understand that it's the kid's experience. So if we fast forward then to the recruitment process, the kids should be driving the helicopter. They should be the ones that are doing the emailing, the calling, and the texting for the initial phases. And then when it's over, you could encourage them to take notes, save notes, compare notes, and then go back so a player can have their own experience of narrowing down the schools before you would need to come in as a parent in more of a financial role and a safety role and things like that.
Yeah, I think parents, and we do joke about parents. I think they play an incredibly important part in the recruitment process. They have to. I mean, because they are sending their kid off and they're entrusting their son or daughter's next 4 years with you. So parents have to be involved, but more of a back seat. Do you think that's an accurate statement there?
Yeah, so one of the things that has been great for the college coaches during this COVID has been the availability of people to speak, via phone but I've also utilized a lot of Zoom and a lot of Google with prospective student athletes more than I've ever done. And I've added in this period, after that first conversation, I have a line where I say, "I'm sure your mom and dad care about where you want to go to college." And the lady goes, yeah. And I say, "So if I'm a place where you think you can see yourself after this call, why don't you ask mom and dad or whoever's helping you, and we'll set up a Zoom call in 10 days time or a week's time." And I think that has been really beneficial because you see almost like a little bit of relief come off that young person where they're like, okay, I can bring mom in and mom and dad can ask the money question. Or, hey, what's the location like, coach? Is it safe for my daughter to go to that part of the world? Those type of adulting type questions. But yeah, for the college experience, I don't want an email coming from paulsmith@gmail.com. I want that coming from Susie Smith 2021@gmail.com. Those initial outreaches have to come from the player that you're recruiting, because we as college coaches, we all want the same thing. We all want players who want to come and play for us. We don't want to have someone whose dad wants to come and play for us. Unless you can score 45 goals a year, I might accept that. Dad can sit on the team bus if there's somebody out there who can score 45 a year for me.
There's a lot of jokes there that I'm going to pass on since this is a family-friendly podcast. So, yeah. I mean, what do you guys think? So you have this, and, I remember giving tours back when I was recruiting, and you'd ask the parent a question. I'm like, hey, Joe, what's your favorite? What do you think you excel at? And the dad comes in, well, Joe did really good at this, and when that continued to happen for us, at least, we'd cut the tour short. We're like, this is not like that to me, as we talk about defining the role. That to me is a great time for a parent. Like, let your kid talk. Like. Right? I mean, have you guys had experiences like that?
Yeah. Oh man, absolutely. Yeah, and I think, and sometimes the situation even gets a little awkward for a while, because now the kid doesn't know. Am I supposed to answer the next question, or are mom and dad going to answer the question for me? And then mom and dad will look back to the kid and say, well, are you going to answer? And then the kid feels uncomfortable. So it's not the coach that's creating the awkwardness. It's the family dichotomy that we're trying to let the kid work itself out. And so you're still going to face situations where there's going to be a shy kid, and they are better talking to you on the phone by themselves or via text, so they can express their thoughts that way. So you do have to still treat each kid different. So I guess I would reach out to the parents and say, know your kid, right? Know your kid and encourage them before they go in that this is for you. When the coach wants to ask me as a parent a question, they'll direct it to me. And I'm sure Joe does this too, but I will direct the question to the parent, because typically the question that I'm going to ask is, what's your biggest worry as a parent? That's a typical question that I always ask. And you'd be surprised, Josh, how many parents are like, I don't really know. Like, you should know the worries. Like, what are you worried about? Like, your kid's leaving and they're going to be living at my college. So you need to have some questions.
Most of the moms are, how quickly can I turn the bedroom into my sewing room? That's
if that's your biggest concern, you're probably a parent I enjoy talking to.
yeah. That's not a helicopter parent. That's actually a plane parent where they push them out. We call those parachute parents.
Get them out of here.
Yeah.
So I think when a coach wants to ask parents questions, they will direct questions to parents.
And I think another for the parent role, and again, conversation is, I think in the beginning, I think parents are vital to help drive the kids and push the kids to ask these questions of hey, Susie, what did you do today recruitment wise? Did you send some emails? And I think there's a lack of that, because parents are the ones that ultimately that they go to bed at the house and they're there in front of them. And I think parents always say, well, what should I be doing? You should asking your kids the questions, like, are your kids doing this? I mean, what do you guys think of that?
I would add 100%. And John, one of the things that makes my teeth itch a little bit as a coach is when I hear a parent say it's their choice on where they go to school. I'm not really involved with it. And I go, yeah, but your daughter has got the academic grades to be a surgeon and get in a top 5 school in the country, and she's choosing to go to
Culver-Stockton
school. I'm not going to start with her friends, right? And you want to say, and as a college coach, when you see that and you're like, it's a tough situation to be, because you're seeing, and I don't want to say a bad decision being made, but it's when you're like, parents do need to be a part of the conversation to help guide their child to where they can have the most success. So, if your daughter can get into Yale, then send her to Yale if that's the best place, okay? Just because her friend is going to State U, that might be, in that moment, she might think it's the best, but sometimes parents need to help guide and say, you've got the grades to look at these 35 schools, and this is where we should be looking into this type of schools. So I think parents can sometimes undersell themselves and undercook themselves, as opposed to being like it's like two extremes. Mm-hmm. You have the one who's like wants to make a decision, and the other one being like, Coach, I'm just going to sign the tuition bill. And it's like, no, we need more from you there, because you've guided this young person their entire life. Don't just stop as a senior in high school, when there's a lot of young people don't know all the time what's best for them. They think they do, but they need an adult or a mentor, a club coach who's going to be like, you should be going to this school. Yeah. Right? This is a school that's going to put you into medical school. You've talked about being a doctor since you was 8. Go and put a school, those type of things. So, and I don't know if, Tyler, you see that, but I've lost players to schools that I'm like, academically, you're selling yourself short. You could be going somewhere else. And I think parents can be a little bit more involved in that piece sometimes.
And that takes work. I think that takes work from the parent side. And so if you're the parent that wants to be involved, like, find that way to be involved. Do your research. understand the rules of Division I soccer, understand the rules of Division II and Division III soccer, understand the rules of NAIA and junior college, and research and do the work to figure out what your kid is interested in. Maybe, little Johnny wants to major in marketing. Well, look at these great marketing schools and places where they're placing people for jobs, and then start to match those with soccer. So there's plenty of work that you can be involved in as a parent that, like Joe said, has helped guiding your kid to the best possible route.
So yeah, it sounds like the parent of the behind the scene of propping the player up and holding them up and being there, and I think but really letting the kid talk for themselves. I think that's one of the biggest things that it is tough for a parent to get a role, because you always want your kid to succeed and you want the best for your kids, and but really letting them have the voice for themselves and do the behind the scenes, because the financial stuff, you're right, is I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm still overwhelmed by financial aid. And this is what I do for a living. And so, that is definitely a parent involvement conversation. These poor kids, we want to believe every coach is ethical, but unfortunately, that's not always the case.
I think we're going to compare it also. It's almost like a job interview, right? Like you want people to help you and guide you and say, hey, they're going to ask you this type of question, and that's where you want to be selling this. When they ask you about what do you do out the classroom, talk about the community service, talk about this, but you don't ever take your mom or dad to a job interview with you, okay, right? And if they can drop you off in the car, but you've got to answer and you've got to sell yourself. And, our players do a great job of selling their soccer side. They work out, they go to practice, they do the film videos. Well, that's like your resume. But when you go and sit with a college coach in their office, they've got to decide if they can stand the person as well as the soccer player. And if mom and dad are the ones who are answering everything, we're not going to know what that person's really like.
Joe, I think Josh actually got his current job because his mom went to the interview.
and answered the question. Josh sat outside.
Mama T calls me and says, Josh, I got you a job, honey, and I already packed your lunch for you. She dropped me off in the minivan and honked. Have a good day, sweetie.
Josh was the kid whose sandwiches was cut into squares. Right. Mouth size sandwiches.
Dang it, Kathy! I told you I don't want crust. All right, hey, I do an end on and do an end on something just like kind of stirring the pot here. So, what's the best soccer cleat ever made?
Copa.
Copa.
I mean, it's hard to argue that. I never wore Copas because everyone else did.
Oh.
I was that kid.
Tyler, were you a white boot guy? Surely not.
Oh, God, no. I was never JoJo White shoes. I was always dark, but I preferred. I wore a lot of Nike before Nike really got into soccer shoes. So a lot of people my age probably remember like the Nike Zooms. They were pretty good cleat, just underrated because everyone around you is wearing the Copa. So you could find me with the Zooms.
There you go.
To this day, someone with Copa steps on the field, like, you better be a good soccer player.
Represent them well.
Absolutely. I think the World Cup, if you guys remember the World Cup version of Copa, the 6 studs, because as a goalkeeper, I slipped one time and I got World Cup. So, what do you grass or turf?
I would always go grass that has got a dedicated grounds crew attached to it.
There's no caveats to this answer.
Otherwise, turf, because there's too many people out there that have a grass field that you graze livestock on and then put goals on it and turn it. So I'm now a total turf convert.
So let me rephrase the question then. I didn't know Joe was going to make it complicated. Quality grass.
Why are you surprised about that?
Quality grass field. Let's say we have a quality grass field versus turf. So let's assume you have like someone taking care of your grass. Like quality grass or turf.
Grass. I mean, even like I'm old now too, so I think about my knees and my ankles. But
we made Joe mad. He's like, I'm out of here.
Sorry, Joe. But Joe's right. Like we have 2 grass fields and a turf field all on our campus, and the grass fields are just always a headache for me. Always a headache.
Yeah.
And so, I'd rather be on the turf field coaching than on the grass field with like a rake and a hoe trying to like till the land.
That really itches my teeth. Was that the new phrase we heard today, Joe?
That's Joe's line.
Yeah, I tell you, I just have Joe on just to learn a new phrase because I seem so much like I'm going to use that. Man, that really itches my teeth. Like you wouldn't understand. It's a soccer thing. All right, guys. Hey, I know Joe's your favorite EPL team, man. You, Tyler, who do you got?
I watch Manchester City.
Man, yeah, that's a good
Joe
one.
and I are rivals.
Yeah, and I'm an Arsenal fan. I hate to say we're still in the league though, so I got that going for me. But all right, guys, thank you, Joe and Tyler. Joe with Lawrence University, Tyler Culver-Stockton College. Thanks for joining us today on Cap Chat.